Good morning, truckers. I'm Josh Jones. 7 new victims were found last night in the Grayson Cemetery. The newest slayings of the Clintonville slasher. Wait, hold on. It's just in. We have a video, apparently, of the Clintonville slasher, but I must warn you, viewer discretion is advised. It looks like we found his last victim. My name is Lurch Frankenfox, and I hide in the shadows of this small town. And you are my latest victim. I am the Clintonville Slasher. Hello everybody, welcome to the Clintonville Slasher. I am your host, Lurch Frankenfox. Happy Wednesday. It is the middle of the week. Weekend is approaching. So today is going to be a little bit of a different episode. It's going to be a movie review, but yesterday I was on Josh from Nightmare on Woodsboro Lakes episode where we were discussing, we did a Ernest Scared Stupid review. And it got me thinking of like horror movies when I was a kid and the spooky season, and I couldn't really think of like one that I really wanted to do until this morning, when I, of course, picked 1987's The Monster Squad. This movie is amazing. If you've never heard of this movie, you either live under a rock or you just don't like horror. This is really the gateway to horror movies. So, it was directed by Fred Decker. It was released August 14th of 1987 and it boxed office at $3.8 million. Now, a few things that you may not have known about Monster Squad. For one, Liam Neeson was supposed to play the original Dracula. He was casted but turned it down for a couple of reasons. One, he turned it down because he didn't think the movie was going to be that good, and he didn't want it to be that devastating to his career. And number two, the guy that did play him, and I believe his name is Duncan Regner. I'm not sure if that's how he's playing. His name is Duncan, but he killed the audition. And Fred Decker loved him. And I often think about that. Like, could you imagine for a moment, one of the most iconic scenes in this film is the fact where he picks up Phoebe by her face and he goes, "Give me the amulet, you bitch," and screams at her. Now, it looks amazing. Duncan killed that role. It's awesome the way he does it. And she screams and it looks great. Could you imagine for a moment if Liam Neeson picked her up and was just like, "If you give me the amulet, there'll be the end of it. But if you don't, I will find you and I will kill you." Like, I can't do a good Liam Neeson, but you get what I'm saying. Like, I don't know if that was gonna work. It's fun to think about it though, I guess. The original opening, actually, and this movie, the way it opens is so awesome. You know, you've got the graveyard and the awesome lighting, and then you've got Van Helsing and all of his guys are going up to Dracula's castle, and he's got the amulet and the vampiresses and the virgins, and it's just very like awesome old school like Universal monster movie, and then it goes in the 80s. Well, that actually was supposed to be in black and white, and it ended up, and then Van Helsing was supposed to be riding on a Zeppelin, and all of his guys were on horseback, and the whole thing, like I said, the whole thing was in black and white, and they ended up burning down Dracula's castle. Well, it ended up being way too expensive. This movie only had a $12 million budget, and they were going to go over budget just with the opening, so they decided to go with the way they did it. And I think that works because the opening to the film now is really good, really iconic, and I really, really enjoy that. So I'm glad they didn't do that. This movie also pays a lot of homage to older movies as well. In the treehouse, there are several different posters, such as Zombie, Return of the Living Dead, and the original Wolfman. And actually, this movie also was directed by Fred Decker, who also directed Night of the Creeps. And if you notice in Night of the Creeps, written on the wall it's the words "Go Monster Squad," almost like a foreshadowing it, the Monster Squad movie, which I think is really cool. Little salt and pepper they threw in there is really awesome. And number 4, this one's actually pretty cool. Ashley Bank, who plays Phoebe, actually turned down the role of Michael Keaton, turned down the role for Fatal Attraction. She decided to turn down that role from Fatal Attraction to do this movie, Monster Squad. And I can't remember who's in that. I want to say Michael Keaton, but that's wrong. So anyway, she turned down the movie or Michael Douglas. There it is. But she turned down the role to play her daughter, to play Phoebe, which I think is really awesome. So actually, when the iconic scene I was talking about earlier in the episode where Dracula takes her and picks her face up and "Give me the amulet, you bitch," and screams at her, looks great. That scream was actually real. Fred Decker told Duncan to go up to Ashley and turn her around, grab her by the face, lift her up, and scream and call her a bitch. And she didn't know what was going on. So he just walked up there, and then they went back to the post-production and they fixed everything. But that actually, where he picks her up and lifts her up off the ground, that was totally not scripted. So her scream is real. So, which is, I guess is cool if you want to do that, but she's still a 5-year-old kid too, so it's not that cool. Tom Noonan, who is the guy who played Frankenstein, actually never broke character throughout the entire process. From the time he sat in the makeup chair till the time he went home, he was just straight Frankenstein. The guy who plays Rudy said it in a lot of different interviews that when he would go up to talk to him and say, I'm a real big fan of yours, I guess he just never broke character. And that would just get kind of annoying to me, bogus. Hey, Tom, you want some coffee? Bogus. So, there was actually 13 minutes of deleted scenes throughout this film. Some of the scenes include the longer version of Horace freaking out at the front of Shadowbrook Road. He's freaking out the entire time. That scene is a little bit longer. And then there's Rudy and Patrick's sister. They kiss each other at the end. The embrace at the very end of the film is a little bit longer, which I don't really care about. But this scene makes me mad that it's not in the film. Instead of meeting Adjourn and throwing dynamite through the top of the clubhouse and exploding, there was actually supposed to be a fight. And it was supposed to turn out that Phoebe was supposed to be playing with the amulet, seeing stuff and practicing her German, and actually ends up and she's sitting at the kitchen table with her mom. And her mom's doing dishes, and she accidentally opens up a portal, and Dracula comes to the house. He comes through the front door, and she accidentally opens up this portal, and Van Helsing comes out and stabs him through the heart. And it was supposed to be this giant fight scene that we never got, which, I don't know, that meeting Adjourn thing where he tosses the dynamite through the clubhouse window is super awesome, and I really do like that, but I would have loved to see more Van Helsing Dracula fight. So, this movie is so great. There's a lot of other good scenes and a lot of other hidden facts about it. Such as the guy who plays Gilman was a special effects makeup artist. He did his own makeup, all the entire suit. He made that himself, and he did his own makeup, which is super awesome. And they actually couldn't quite call him the creature. They had to call him the Gilman because they didn't own the rights to that. There was a lot of licensing issues with that as well. They had to go through jump through a lot of hoops. I don't really have anything bad to say about this film at all. I think that it's amazing from start to end. There's a little bit of bad, CGI, not CGI, but bad claymation that they had, such as when the doors open up and Dracula turns into a bat, they don't actually show him they show him turn into a bat there, and it doesn't look that good. But then again, it's just 1987. What do you really want? But and I my favorite character throughout the whole thing is Rudy. Who didn't want to be Rudy? Roll up on a banana seat bike and actually light your cigarette with your shoe, strike the match with your shoe, light your cigarette, eat it, EJ, and we'll call it a day. Rudy was the coolest. Who didn't want a fucking banana seat on their bike? So awesome. So that guy who actually plays Rudy actually went into the audition, walked up to Fred Decker, lit a match off his shoe and said, "Give me a cigarette, pussy," and that's how he got the role. So I think that's super awesome. So if you've never seen this film, I strongly suggest it. It is one of my favorites, and it's right around the time for spooky season, so check it out, Monster Squad. I don't know what else I could say about it, how awesome it is. If you're new to the channel, please like, comment, and subscribe. I post every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And like always, stay horror, and I will see you Friday for my Halloween Ends review. Now it's gonna be spoiler free, and I'm probably gonna be drunk, and I'm probably gonna hate it just because they altered the timeline in that movie, and it really makes me mad. And I don't ask me about it because I could literally go on a fucking hour-and-a-half rant about why there's no Halloween Part 2, why it pisses me off. And I'll start with, you'd have no damn franchise without Part 2. It's the best one. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, I could go on forever. But anyway, stay horror. I'll see you Friday. Later days. Make sure you like and subscribe. Follow us on Facebook, Clintonville Slashers Club, and on Instagram, Frankenhooker Band. Links will be in the description box below. Slashers on the loose, Clintonville. Maybe next time I come for you. You're gonna die, bitch!